All right. Welcome, everyone. My name is Tony Cockmo, president of the Expert Elite World, and also president of the DFW BIM Infrastructure User Group and president of Civil CAD Learning Solutions. And welcome for another session of Expert Elite World. Today we have Kristina. So, Kristina, you'd like to introduce yourself and what you do at your work?
So my name is Kristina Youngblut, and I work for a company called Brightspan Building Systems, and
Mhm,
we build pre-engineered fabric structures, and I work in the estimating department. So our
mhm.
dealers and sales agents, they're creating a unique project, then I will help quote out the project and identify the
Okay.
requirements for it. So
Okay,
yeah.
cool. So how long have you been in the industry?
So this will be my 20th-ish year that I've been in the
Oh, okay.
AC industry.
Yeah.
I went to school for architectural technology, but as a
Mhm,
co-op, I landed in a content aggregator company
mhm.
in my co-op position and realized that there was more to the world than just drawing buildings. And
Oh, yeah.
as much as I love the architecture, there's more to it than that. There's the windows, there's the doors, there's the systems, there's
Mhm,
everything else that is required to make that. And I realized that I had an opportunity to be part of that portion of the industry. And
mhm.
I completely understood it. I could grasp any manufactured product, and just be able to articulate it in CAD platforms. So
Yeah.
yeah, my entire career changed at a co-op.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where do you currently live right now? I don't know if you mentioned it.
So I live in Ontario, Canada, so in the
Okay.
Great White North, but not too far north.
I think you're our
But
third Expert Elite, the international Expert Elite member. So that's good
yes, we'll
that
get
we've
some more of
interviewed.
us.
We've had some UK and we've had Turkey. So yeah, so now we got Canada on the list. So that's good.
Ah, oh,
So you just recently became an Expert Elite, so congratulations to join the
thank
group.
you.
So I think we have maybe 150 or 180 United States Expert Elite members
Okay.
across multiple industries. I mean, it could be wrong. I have to go look. I hadn't checked in a while. So, but uh, we don't have one in every state. We don't have one in every country too.
No, we
So,
don't.
so I think I don't know if you remember. Correct me if I'm wrong. There may be maybe 350 across the whole Expert Elite program.
Yes, I
So
think like just shy of 400 of us
yeah,
all
so we're
together. So
in between there. So, and I don't know how many are in each industry, like entertainment versus MEP versus the AEC. I think the AEC may have the most, possibly,
yes,
Expert Elite members. So that covers under AutoCAD, Civil 3D, Revit, um, Navisworks 3ds Max, software like that, AutoCAD, vehicle
yeah.
tracking. So, okay. So, do you remember when you first touched the very first Autodesk software? When was it?
Yes.
What were you doing at that time?
So actually, grade 9
Hmm.
art class.
Oh, okay.
Weird
Wow.
way to weird way to get started in AutoCAD. But it was, yeah, art class. They're like, okay, we're gonna go and play on the computer,
Hmm.
and they turn on AutoCAD. I think it was like version 12, or I don't know. I,
Hmm.
I started in 96, but they
Hmm.
had they had an old version at that point still,
Yeah.
because schools. And I finished the entire program in one class.
Oh,
And I was like,
wow.
oh, but I've always wanted to do architecture. So it
Yeah.
wasn't new to me that this was going to be something that I
Yeah.
could grasp and understand quickly, but I didn't realize how quickly, because I
Oh, wow.
completed
Yeah.
I'm really good at math, and it's a
Hmm.
math-based program, and I just a very curious person. So after I did that, I was like, okay, so grade 9, you don't have any electives. You have to do what they
Hmm.
tell you to do. Grade 10 comes along. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go to the technology program.
Yeah.
Um, and they weren't using AutoCAD in the technology program. They were actually
Hmm.
using SoftPlan. So I was like, well, I'll take what I can get.
Soft plan.
So
I've never heard that one.
it is like what Revit is right now. It's kind of
Oh,
wild to
yeah.
see the evolution of Revit.
Hmm.
But I was doing that kind of design in the
Hmm.
in the 90s, but
Yeah.
that's all right.
Yeah.
And I went to a technology, what was it? It was a competition, and
Yeah.
never been in a competition. It was my first semester in this program, never really done anywhere, and I got third place. I was
Oh,
like,
there you go.
okay. So, it was all starting to click. It was all starting to make sense.
Yeah.
Okay. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew where I wanted to go. So, you take the appropriate classes in high school and then
Hmm.
you go off to college. And AutoCAD was not a prerequisite for my
Hmm.
college program. You did
Oh,
not
wow.
even need to know it existed. So I walk into my college program first year, and I was the only one out of 150 people who had touched AutoCAD.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
through high school, I had, because AutoCAD wasn't part of the technology program,
Hmm.
I knew my instructor very well, and he knew
Hmm.
where I wanted to go. So he gave me AutoCAD and allowed me um, to just take the program and have my own course. So I
Yeah.
got my own credits in
So,
AutoCAD and architectural.
so what were you drawing, at that time, in
Um,
AutoCAD?
so in AutoCAD, we were doing parts. We were drawing like brackets and
Okay.
just weird shapes. They were just trying to get us to
Yeah.
understand, how to do the quadrants and just
Hmm.
figure out how to use the program, understanding the coordination
Hmm.
system and all that kind of stuff. It was nothing really crazy. So when I went to take my own architectural program in high school,
Yeah.
he just gave me whatever project was for soft plan,
Yeah.
and then I would just replicate it in AutoCAD.
Okay.
So,
Were you
which
doing
was
any kind of
actually
3D
harder.
modeling?
No, because that
It was just all
really,
2D?
yeah, it
Okay.
was because there wasn't really too much 3D in those
Yeah.
first. Yeah, you'd have to make
Okay.
it. You'd have your ISOs and you could kind of
Yeah.
manipulate it, but
Yeah.
there was no. Yeah, you used the same AutoCAD I
Yeah,
did.
we didn't have it at not that I know of, 96. So you would have been a freshman when I was a senior
Okay,
in high school. So I graduated in 96 in high school. So um and I don't recall them having any kind of Autodesk program. But then again, it, the art technology, people were doing art and technology
yeah.
was in a separate building, which I never went to. I didn't ever had any classes in that building.
Oh,
So I don't know what
okay.
was going on, but I never heard anybody talk about Autodesk products. So,
Fair. Yeah.
but then again, I was probably not interested at that time because I was playing like four sports. I was just a jock. So, um, but cool. And then so once you graduated, you went to school. Did you mention, did you touch, continue working with Autodesk products?
I have been
Um,
using Autodesk products
mhm.
consistently for 26
Okay.
years. Not one year, not one probably
Yeah.
day, unless I was sick in bed,
Yeah.
that I haven't used some type of Autodesk software. Yeah. So my last semester or my last co-op at my college, I got a job with a content aggregator as a
Hmm.
4 month program. And when I walked in, the CAD manager had actually quit. The same.
Mm,
So I had half a day training from them, and
yeah.
then I was replacing a co-op, and then I got a half a day training from them, and
Yeah.
then I was the CAD manager in my
Wow.
co-op.
That's
Yeah, with it was
everything in
wild.
mind.
Yeah. Oh, I lost. Sorry, dropped you there. Yeah. So but I was already very well versed in AutoCAD. And
Yeah.
actually, during my interview, they're like, "So, what's your experience in AutoCAD? How much, your experience level? Where do you feel you are?" I'm like, "Oh, I don't know, about 60, 70%." She's like,
Yeah.
"You're the first person to say that. Everybody says 90, 100%." I was like, "You can never know. You've never
All of
used
it.
every
Yeah.
tool." Yeah, like I've been using it for 26 years, and I still have not
You
touched
know.
everything.
Oh yeah, exactly. I always kind of laugh if somebody says, "Oh, I know it like the back of my hand." All of it. I'm like, I highly doubt it. I
Yeah,
wouldn't even
please
say that
describe
for
the back of
Civil
your hand.
3D. I
And
might
you
say
build
I know
apps for that.
70% because there's a bunch of stuff I don't touch in Civil 3D. It's
Yep.
just so big of a program, and then all the little
And we,
add-ins that goes on top of it. The additional add-ins for hydraulic software, vehicle, uh, map 3D that goes in top of that too. So geospatial commands and stuff. So in surveying
yeah,
part, I do get more in the surveying part now. But yeah, I mean, it'd be almost impossible for somebody to come in and say, "I know 100% of Civil 3D." Like, really?
yeah.
So
I actually now say 40 to 50%
yeah,
for AutoCAD.
yeah.
I've dropped it because now that we've got the architectural, the MEP, the electrical, all
Hmm.
in the one program, I didn't
Hmm.
use those tools because that wasn't my focus.
Yeah,
So there's so much that I don't know. So it just, and we're doing the different things. Me and you don't
yeah,
do the same things. So you
yeah,
use different controls than I do. So there's
yeah,
no way that
yeah.
somebody can say 100%. Yeah. Um, but that was a surprise to me. How was
Yeah.
I the first person to them? And I also walked in with 11 by 17 portfolio, and
Yeah.
everybody always walked in with a 24 by 36. And she's like, oh my gosh, thank you for giving me something I can look at. I was like, oh, you're welcome. I was like, I'm just realistic. I know.
Somebody comes in with rolls of plans.
Oh my, giant tubes. And she's like, it would take over my whole desk. And I come with this beautiful little book. And yeah,
Yeah, because
you
they're
just got to
probably
read the
rolling in with
room.
like a 30 by 42 big architectural size sheet or something.
Not
So
realizing that you can easily plot this on 11 by 17 as well.
yeah,
And it'll
yeah.
still look great. Yeah. Just
Yep.
drop your pen style thickness.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, I didn't touch Autodesk until I got into the military. That's 97. So and that was R12. I think you mentioned R12.
Yeah.
So it's come a long way. So I still
It's
use some of the
wild.
tools in AutoCAD and some of the commands and stuff
Yeah.
because Civil 3D, that's the foundation of Civil 3D, is it just sits on top of AutoCAD. And
Yeah.
then you got Map 3D also on top of it. But yeah, there's still stuff in there like, what does this button do? Like you attended some of our quizzes, our AutoCAD trivia, and then a lot of people, only get half, a third of the questions right.
I think I got one question right on all
Yeah,
of that. Yeah.
yeah,
Because again, and even if you know it, you just know it instinctively
yeah.
as well. So you're like, it's like a deer in the headlights. It's like, what? I know that, but where do I go for that? My brain doesn't
Yeah.
even, it just does what I want it
I
to do.
know the command, but I don't even know what the icon looks like. Or your hand already knows where to go, but you're like, I don't remember where. Let me grab my mouse real quick, and they'll tell me.
Yeah, and I'm
So
a command line person, so my left
yeah.
hand is constantly on the keyboard, and then the other
Hmm.
one's on the mouse, but goes to because
Hmm.
I try and memorize commands. That's my thing. I wrote scripts
Yeah.
and lists, so I understand how AutoCAD works in that direction. So I don't care about the mouse
Yeah.
really. It's coordinates, it's math. Just
Yeah.
give me the numbers. We'll deal with this. Yeah.
I was just thinking this the other day. What if there was a joystick, your keyboard sits like this, but there was a joystick where your thumbs is. So you're panning and zooming with your thumbs,
Oh my
you know?
gosh, that would be
You
that's
know,
that's kind of reminds me of like the original one. You remember when they had the drawing board and the little
hmm.
mouse, the little ball? It kind of
Yeah.
reminds me of, yeah, yeah, just
Yeah.
merge them together.
Merge them together and you got this ball in the middle of your keyboard, and it's that way you can zoom and pan around. So you're using
Yeah,
your
so
two
I don't
thumbs.
have, well, and I had to teach myself, and I haven't done it in a while, but I actually had taught myself to use a mouse with my left hand so that I
Hmm.
could write and work
Oh,
and manipulate
yeah.
the keyboard. Yeah,
Yeah. You could do
but
that.
it takes a little bit of time to get through, but
Yeah.
you're just retraining your brain. That's all it is. Yeah.
Hmm. Yep. Yep. I know people that are very command driven. They know all the commands. They'll
Uh,
change some of the command aliases to make it shorter or something
mm,
more easier to type, So I only
yeah.
changed maybe 4 or 5 commands in the command alias to something I feel more comfortable. Like, for example, I know the offset command is O, but I changed mine to OS, but the OS is object
Oh,
snaps, and I'll switch
yes, it
that.
is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I just prefer hitting OS for offset. And
That's
what
fair.
else did I change? I might go change the copy base point, to
I that's
CBP. So,
okay. Oh, and I just do Control Shift C.
of course, Shift G,
Yeah.
but I think on my work computer, not my computer here, I changed it to CB so I could just type it with one hand. So copy base
Ooh.
point.
Okay.
So, but just the other day, I was thinking, what if you set up a bunch of macros, like I do with my little short keyboard for
Yeah.
shortcut commands, make it even shorter where it's just a number. Um, and then talk about shortcuts. The other day, I was thinking about what if we could set up a bunch of the action recorder. You posted a little tip on the action recorder.
I beat you
So
by
the other
like
day,
a couple
I haven't.
minutes.
Well, the other day I played around with it. I did one where if you want to do like a clean, you're cleaning up your drawing.
Yes.
I did the purge and audit in the action remote. Now it's set up for that one push button.
That's a really
Yeah,
good idea. I've never thought
yeah,
of, oh my gosh. It is so simple to think of.
yeah,
Like, but that's what
yeah,
it takes. It just takes somebody.
yeah.
Yeah. I met somebody the other day who his entire AutoCAD is all macro shortcuts and stuff like
Oh
that. It
wow.
blew my mind. And I was just, don't worry, I'm trying to get him on the site.
It's it You know, the only downside is what if that computer goes down and you got to jump on somebody else's? Could you still function without all those shortcuts and stuff? So
And that's actually
yeah,
why I've lots of people change them, and I understand why you change
yeah,
your commands so that works for you. But because I've been in Lisp and script
yeah,
development, I've
hmm
I've I don't change any of my
hmm
commands, and it kind of blows people's mind. They're like, "But you're like a power user." It's like, yeah, but my power usage is based on the standard AutoCAD, because if I'm going to write a script or I'm going to write a
yeah,
list, it needs to work on any computer, anytime,
yeah, exactly.
anywhere.
Yeah,
So, and I've always wanted to change everything, but it's just the nature of my business.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
But
s- so now, you go and share your knowledge about Revit and AutoCAD, right? So
yes.
when did you start using Revit?
So I started using Revit in 2006. So this one actually came across my desk just randomly, actually. So I heard the name Revit. I was building parametric toolboxes at the time, and I was
Hmm
using AutoCAD, and I just actually introduced SketchUp into my parametric
hmm
toolboxes for elevators. It wasn't parametric at the time because SketchUp didn't have those functionalities at that point.
hmm
But somebody was like, "Well, can you do it in this program called Revit?" I was like, "Well, let me look it up." And I was like,
Revit,
okay,
what's
well,
that?
yeah. And I was
English?
like, and I was like, yeah, I think we could do this, but I hadn't been trained in it yet. So we hired somebody who called themselves a Revit guru. I was like, okay, this should be good. I have 2,000 windows and doors that I need you to create for me. But
Oh,
I knew
wow.
enough. I taught myself enough Revit. I did all the tutorials that I could test his work. Well, the
Yeah.
problem was every model I got for him would not like stay constrained to the reference plane, would go below. And I was like, no, this needs default insert, drop, does what it's
Yeah.
supposed to do. And
Yeah.
I spent 2 months fighting with this guy about these models, and I'm trying to build
Oh,
my parametric toolbox, and I can't align to his models. We had worked with Autodesk to build a custom API that
hmm
allowed us to manipulate the Revit models dynamically.
yeah.
This was before type catalogs. And because we were already doing that with AutoCAD, they had built us a
hmm
custom API to access AutoCAD internally so that we could
Yeah.
manipulate the models in real time. So I turned around to my boss and I was like, give me 2 weeks to
Yeah.
learn Revit, and I'm going to do these models, because we had wasted too much time with this guy. It wasn't going anywhere, especially with the whole Revit guru thing. It was just rubbing me the wrong way. So he hired this guy to come teach me Revit. He was there for half a day, turned around to my boss and said, she's already beyond me. I can't teach her. I'm just gonna, should I just leave and you not pay for this whole day? And we're like, okay. So I took my 2 weeks, and all I did was Revit. All I did was
yeah.
learn the functions, how to manipulate it,
Yeah.
and made a mess. Really, that
Yep.
was what it was. I wasn't drawing anything. I wasn't even drawing my windows and doors. I was just
Yeah.
drawing boxes and circles and manipulating and seeing how they interacted and how I needed to think, because Revit and AutoCAD are not the same program. So that's something I tell everybody, like, oh, well, I should be able to easily learn Revit. I was like, no, you need to actually forget everything you know and
Yeah.
then hop into Revit and pretend like it's a new program. Do the
Oh, yeah.
tutorials. I don't care if you're not going to do architecture, just do the architectural tutorial. It shows you where the commands are, it shows you where the tool sets are. You just need to understand the program. And so after about a month of back and forth,
hmm
I was developing the Revit models for my parametric toolbox,
Wow.
and I didn't have to fight with somebody who was
Yeah.
not doing it correctly anymore.
Yeah.
Gets my Italian hands out sometimes. Um, but it was a good learning experience because I'm very technically inclined. I can generally
Mhm.
pick up any program, give me a little bit of time,
Yeah.
and I can deal with it. So actually, in
Yeah.
high school, I took a business administrative class,
hmm
and I already knew all of the word software better than even the teacher at the point. Not to like gloat or anything, but my
Yeah.
mom had raised me on those platform on
Yeah.
that software, so I already knew how to use it. So he's like, well, if you do this, the graphics and all of the work needed for
hmm
the school play, do the exam, whatever you get on the exam,
Yeah.
you can get for the class. I got 96% on the exam,
Oh,
and I never
wow.
once did the class, but it was Excel and Word and formatting. And it was just like,
Yeah.
seriously, this is a class? Like, I'm going to get a credit for this? Yeah. But so I've always been technically inclined. So picking up Revit didn't surprise me. Picking up
Yeah.
SketchUp never surprised me. It was just another
Yeah.
avenue for me to create art
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you were training yourself, were you just playing around with the software? Did you buy books? Did you uh, read
So there
blogs?
wasn't, yeah,
Yeah,
a little bit, because so
yeah,
back in 2006 there wasn't a lot, and I think we've had this
yeah,
conversation a couple of
yeah,
times about there wasn't a lot of resources in the beginning.
yeah.
So the questions I was asking, people weren't doing that kind of stuff yet. So, um, it was very hard to find those solutions. So it was a
Yeah,
lot of trial and error and just
yeah,
doing a little bit of things and just practicing as much as
yeah,
possible. A lot of long nights, a
yeah.
lot of
YouTube
tears.
wasn't around. I think YouTube just
YouTube,
came out in 2006, if I remember right. So
2006, 2007. Yeah.
yeah,
So,
so you're not going to find videos on at that
and
time.
there was no books because Revit wasn't new. The Revit was from the mid 90s.
Yeah.
Oh, don't quote me on that. I think it was from the 90s, but it wasn't purchased from Autodesk until late 90s, early
Hmm.
2000s. Ugh,
Yeah.
don't want to get into that type of history. So there wasn't a lot of resources yet. So a lot of trial and error and just,
Yeah.
downloading other models when you could
Hmm.
find them. So Revit City was huge. At least
Yeah.
there was Revit City in the beginning. So
Yeah.
not the greatest models on there,
Hmm.
but at least things that I could pick apart and just kind
Yeah.
of what's the word, reverse engineering.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Okay.
taking
Yeah.
things and just trying to figure out what people were doing and
Hmm.
trying to solve my own problems. So
Yeah.
my first window model to what I can create today is not even the same species.
Yeah.
Like if this was evolution, this would have been, a worm, and this
Hmm.
would have been, a dragon
Hmm.
with, gold plated armor. So it's just, and you probably could say the same. Your first civil 3D drawing to what you can create today with the apps and the tools you have,
Yeah.
not even the same
Yeah.
degree.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I still remember when I started Civil 3D when it first came out, convinced my company to go get a couple seats.
yeah,
Yeah, it was difficult because it wasn't also it was a little unstable too. So we had to call tech support all the time,
yeah,
try to get on the forums, but there's not a lot of people using it at that time. So all you could do
yeah,
is get on the help menu, get on, call tech support, email tech support. So there was a lot of frustration when I first rolled it out. I took one class, that was it. I think it was like a 2 or 3 day course. I can't remember who the reseller was, and I was in San Antonio at the time. So,
oh,
um, and started using it, started playing with it, but I wasn't 100% invested where I'm like trying to learn the product. I'm just using it at work, and then when I leave work, that's
yeah,
it. I'm not trying to learn. It wasn't until I moved to Dallas in 2006. So 2008 when I started putting my time into it and
yeah.
joined the beta team in 2009. And I
Oh
said, you know
wow.
what, I got to really learn this product. And then the books were 1,200 pages. The
Yes, the Bible
inter-
books that you used
yeah,
to buy.
those big books. And I'm not a book person, so I don't like reading through books. So I'm
Okay.
more of a visual person. If I see a video, I can memorize it, and then that's it. I
Yeah.
don't have to go back. But I get really bored and I start reading a book. So maybe my imagination doesn't kick in while I'm reading a book or something. So but yeah,
And
they
I
had
like
the was
doing
it
it at the
Mastering
same
Civil 3D
time.
book or something? So yeah.
Okay. And it's
Yeah, that's what it
always
was.
nice to, I love the books, I love the visuals, kind of
Yeah.
whatever I can get, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm a multi-level learner. I don't
Yeah.
know how to say that.
Yeah.
But the fact that you have the program in front of your face while you're learning
Yeah.
so that I can try it out. So right now,
Yeah.
actually, I just got my LinkedIn Learning reset back up from the
Hmm.
Expert Elite program.
Yeah.
And I'm taking Introduction to AutoCAD 2024 by Sean Britt because why
Oh,
not?
yeah.
Yes, I've used AutoCAD for 26 years,
Yeah.
but I haven't used AutoCAD 2024,
Yeah.
and I probably have bad habits or new commands that I don't know about.
Yeah.
Like, be curious always. Don't
Yeah.
stop trying to learn. That's really what it comes down to.
Like I
Yep.
said on our user group, don't be complacent with your knowledge.
No,
There's
I
always
never
time.
assume what I know.
Yeah.
And how many times have I posted on our site and
Yep.
somebody's like, "Oh, I do it this way," and their way's better. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you for
Yep.
telling me. I'm never ashamed. I'm never insulted if somebody
Yep.
does something differently because we don't use the platform the
Yep.
same way.
Yep.
So
When I'm teaching, some people will like, why didn't you do it this way? I'm like, look, there's multiple ways to do it within Civil
yeah,
3D, pull down menu, shortcut commands, keyboards, icons, you know, and I tell people like, I can't show you every single possible workflow and
yes,
tips and shortcuts. There's just no way. I don't have enough time to teach each shortcut, you know?
yep,
So if you know a shortcut, yeah, feel free to share. Or I tell people in the class, like, hey, you know, continue using that shortcut. You don't have to use my method, you know, if you feel like your
no,
shortcut's
yeah,
more better. So, so when I'm usually teaching, I'm showing them, you know, like, hey, we're going to create alignment. This is how you create it. If you want to do a command run, here's the command to create alignment. If you're a pull
yep.
down person, here's the pull down. Here's the icon for the pull down. Or if you're a ribbon person, here's the ribbon. Here's the icon. Or if you're in the tool palettes, here's how you do it. You pick and choose. I'm not going to tell you how you do it.
I love
And
that.
so, and that's what I typically do. I'll show them the 4 ways you can do it, and I'll let them
Yeah.
choose. Now, when I'm teaching, I'll usually switch back and forth. I might do a command, and then I might
Okay.
be a pull down, and then the next command could be a ribbon. And so I'm switching it out throughout the training
But
exercise.
you're being ambidextrous
Yeah,
in your work, and that's really
yeah,
what people need to understand. When somebody tells me I only do it this way or I only do it this
yeah,
way, no, because actually there's some things you can only do certain ways.
yeah.
Like there's some things that don't. What one did I just do? Oh my goodness. Was it the rename? I think it was the rename tool. I don't think
Hmm.
there's an actual button in the
Hmm.
toolbar or ribbon to access
Yeah,
the rename section. And it's funny,
yeah,
I actually call it the block renamer, but
yeah.
it's not called that. But that's what I
Oh,
use
yeah,
it for. I
yeah,
use it to
exactly. That's what
rename
I use
blocks.
it for too. The rename blocks.
Yes,
Yep.
but you can do anything with it.
Yeah.
And I've been using again AutoCAD for 26 years. And when I wrote the post for the AutoCAD tips page on the
Yeah.
Autodesk forum, I only learned that you could do batch renaming.
Yeah.
That was embarrassing. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been doing this for so long, and I only just learned that I can do
Yeah.
this now.
Yeah.
But that's the whole point, is learning
Yeah.
something new
Exactly.
and being. I love the ambidextrosity of working between all of them, because
Yep.
I don't think when I'm
Yep.
using AutoCAD. I just do.
Yep.
So however
Yep.
my brain wants to process it, go ahead.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. But
So,
yeah, go on.
yeah. So, what versions are you currently on using right now? Are you using all 24 version right now currently in
So
your
I am using
projects?
24 and
Okay.
23. I use
Okay.
23 Lite at work, so we don't actually
Mm.
use the full version here at work.
Okay.
Um, and I'm going to be trying to get us to switch over the 24 Lite, because they just introduced list
Yeah.
routines back into Lite. So I'm like, this
Yeah.
will make my life so much easier. I can actually script things out instead of like the mediocre script where you
Yeah.
write it in a notepad and then copy and paste it into command line.
Yeah.
I can actually write a list routine.
Yeah.
Yay.
There you go.
I know. And some new commands that are coming out that I'm going to take advantage of and write some
Yeah.
tips, and because those are fun.
So on the
Yeah.
24 AutoCAD, do they have all the modules if it's a full version from AutoCAD architecture, AutoCAD MEP, or is that going to be separate? Is that completely
So
separate?
you do get them all. Oh gosh, now I can't remember. Do you have
There's
to
like 7
download them?
tools, ain't there? I think there's 7 tools for
Yeah, so
AutoCAD
I think you have to activate them when
modules.
you're downloading.
Hmm.
Downloading. So it
Okay.
doesn't initially. You get the default AutoCAD, and then
Yeah.
you'll be like, do you want to activate architecture, MEP, electrical? Which
Yeah.
ones? Or sorry,
Yeah.
engineering. Which ones do you want to activate? And then
Yeah.
you have the choice, because they do take up
Yeah.
space. And they did switch it from a 32 to a 64 this one, so that's something
Yeah.
people need to understand. The Civil's the same way. Did
Mm.
they go to 64?
I you know what I didn't honestly check and
You
see.
have
So
amazing computers, so you probably
so
didn't even respond.
uh
But
what's interesting is for me, I have to have all the versions. You know, you're using
yes.
23 and 24. I have to have every single version. So I have 2019 to 2024 because
My
my
Revit
clients,
is like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
since I have to
Yeah.
provide tech support and training and all my clients are in different versions, I need to have, you know, all those older versions. I had to remove 2018 because I was running out of space when you have that many software, that many versions, you know. Uh,
Yeah.
Now InfoWorks is kind of the only one where you can't have all those different versions. It's like Revit.
Oh.
You can only install one version.
So Revit, you
So
can have multiple ones. The only
multiple.
one that caused problem was 2017. You couldn't
Yeah.
have 2016. It for some reason
Mm,
would not work.
Oh, wow.
And I never put time in to figure out what was
Yeah.
going on there. I just got rid of 16. But I have 2019 to 2000 to 24 right now for Revit because
Mhm.
it's not downgrade
Yeah.
savable.
Mm.
So, some clients aren't working in the most current, but then, getting them to understand that you're now
Yep.
on a subscription based service. So you just get this for free upgrade.
Yep.
You don't just buy
Yeah.
2019 and then you're stuck with it. You've bought Revit,
Yeah.
AutoCAD,
And you have all the
just
versions.
upgrade. Yeah. So
Yeah.
changing people's mindset has definitely been a huge barrier, even for
Hmm.
Autodesk the last few years. They've even like brought it up. They're like, hey, can you like, guys, can you go and tell your colleagues and
I,
stuff to upgrade because
mhm.
they
I,
can?
I, I don't know if I shared this with you. I may have shared it with the last Expert Elite where I was a CAD manager. There was an owner who owned multiple companies. Each company had its own LLC, so architectural, um, uh, um, was it interior design, and then I think there was a survey, civil, but each one's under one umbrella but different entities. Okay,
Okay.
so the IT would send tech support questions. One time came in a cab manager for the civil side. We were a small group compared to the architectural side. They were upstairs, and there were a lot of them, multiple offices. They would send me the private tech support tickets to me, even though I was
Uh-oh.
technically not supposed to be allowed to provide tech support to the architectural company, But there was no one there. They didn't know Autodesk. They just, they were, just IT guys. So,
Yeah.
and it would take too long to get answers back from Autodesk. So they would send me the tickets and I would call or walk upstairs, take the elevator, go upstairs and provide them tech support as their secretly BIM manager. So,
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
yeah, so I would do a little BIM management. And what's interesting is somebody asked, why don't we have Revit? What do you mean? So I went to IT and they go, yeah, we have it, but no one's asked for it. What do you mean you have Revit and you hadn't installed it? There's people up there asking for Revit.
Yeah. No one asked for it. You
Well,
were just asked for it.
so what happened was, remember when the ribbon changed from 2009 to 2010? Um,
Yes.
well, I guess they had a nightmare and there was a bunch of backlash when they upgraded, and so they didn't want to go through that same
Oh,
situation with the products and having AutoCAD and Revit, so
okay.
they just didn't want to do it. And I'm like, well, I was really surprised. I told the architect, hey, you have it, but you're gonna have to put a push for it.
Yeah.
So I think two people finally installed it, started using and building templates and stuff. So uh but I did tell him like, well, if you do install it, just don't send me tickets because I don't know anything about the product. So, uh,
2010 Revit made me cry.
yeah,
They changed their material
yeah.
back end and it
Mm.
disassociated all of the images. So, in AutoCAD and
Oh,
Civil where you can associate your materials with
mm-hmm.
images now.
Yeah.
So it's the same format. They actually took that from Revit. The whole
Mm-hmm.
material section
Yeah.
was evolved from there, but they changed the format in 2010.
Yeah.
So everything I had done up until that point for like
Yeah.
5 years, 6 years, or 4 or 5 years, I had to go and redo all of the materials.
Oh my
And it
goodness.
was just like, uh, I cried. Yeah.
I'll be
The only
upset.
time, well, and it wasn't their fault because the way that they built Revit and one of the reasons
Hmm.
I assume that it's not downgrade compatible
Hmm.
was they were technically reprogramming it every year. They were almost rewriting the software
Oh
every year.
wow.
That might not be the right way to say it. I'm
Yeah.
not their expert, but it was that was a reason. It
Hmm.
wasn't the same system.
Yeah.
You were getting
Yeah.
a new system, so they
Yeah.
couldn't. It wasn't compatible.
Yeah.
I would love if they do. I mean, we have IFC. We can
Yep.
export and do whatever we want, but I mean, anybody watching this that's exported an IFC and then put it to another version, they know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's not great. So, but we what do? Do we sit there and throw our career away and not move
Hmm.
forward, or do we take it as a challenge? Do we take the challenge and
Hmm.
we face it head on and
Yep.
we deal with the problems? So,
Yep.
that's what it came down to. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool. Well, are you using any of the cloud applications with Revit, like the BIM 360 and stuff like that? Are you putting stuff in the
No,
cloud?
no,
Not yet.
I'd done the 30-day test on it,
Hmm.
but it wasn't going to work for my position in the industry because
Yeah.
that wasn't what my clients. I was having a hard enough time just getting the manufacturers to understand that they could open AutoCAD and that they had a DW the viewer. They were like,
Yeah.
"What is this?" I was like, "You don't even need AutoCAD. This is free. Just
So
view it."
So does Revit have a share view button? So on Civil, we included what 2 years ago the share view. So share view would take whatever drawing I have open and put it to the cloud on the free Autodesk viewer, and I will share it
Oh,
to the client. And now they don't have to have Autodesk products for the construction manager and my client. I'll send them do a share view and send that model, and now they can view the model for free. Does Revit have
oh.
something like that, like a free view?
I'd
Oh,
have
so
to.
it's called share view. AutoCAD
No,
does it because AutoCAD does.
yeah,
I don't know
and
about Revit.
I don't know. I've never used it, so that's something
Yeah,
good to go look up. I'll go look it up,
yeah,
and if I find something interesting, I'll make a post
yeah,
about it for us
yeah,
on your
yeah.
site.
So,
But I would do like walkthrough videos
yeah.
and send them a little video of
Oh,
the
okay.
Revit, and most of the time I would have to sit with the manufacturers and walk them through it and
Hmm.
share my screen. So that came very early. I've been, doing online presentations
Yeah,
for clients since 2005, which was
yeah,
difficult at the time because,
yeah,
meeting virtually was not very easy back then,
yeah,
not like it is
yeah.
now. So,
I don't know. Was go-to meeting around at that time?
no,
Was it?
I think was it around 2010-ish?
Yeah, because they were the leading ones for a long time.
Yep.
You know,
I
go-to
loved
meeting.
GoToMeeting.
Yeah,
When I brought that in, it was fantastic. And
yeah.
then we went to, we did GoTo, and then um,
Go to,
yeah,
there's some
yeah.
some
There's
of
a
my
few
clients use
programs.
certain sharing
Hmm.
applications like Zoom,
Hmm.
but what's the other one? Blue Gene, I think, or Blue something.
Yeah. And
And then
Teamwork had some stuff too, but I can't
Teamworks.
remember. I
Join
love
Me
Teamwork.
was free. Join Me was
Oh,
another one I used
yeah.
for quite a few years for free. Um, then of course Google. So
And we switched over at my last job, we switched everything over to the Google account. So once
mhm,
that was in there, you had an amazing video service with that. So
yeah,
that's where we focused. That's actually
yeah,
why we got rid of GoTo, was because it was very expensive,
yeah.
especially for the number of seats we needed. So when we
Mm,
switched over to Google, it was just included.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but uploading Revit models to Google's service,
Mm,
we ate through those files, or we ate
oh
through the
wow.
storage.
The
We had like the
storage.
top tier. Yeah, we had it. I think they even made us like a special storage and made us pay a lot of money.
Oh my
But
gosh.
just because we needed, we had multiple ways to make our content accessible, but
Hmm.
working with various manufacturers across the world, you needed an easy way to share that stuff. And
Yeah,
Dropbox was very expensive. You have to take cost and functionality
yeah,
into
yeah,
into the equation. Yeah, so
yeah,
Google just
yeah.
worked out for us. Yeah.
So if you had the steering wheel with Autodesk, what would you change right now for AutoCAD or Revit?
Oh gosh, that's a big question. What would I change? Actually, I would like more parametric
Mm,
functionalities in AutoCAD. I don't
mm,
know why it's never evolved past where it is, but actually, I
mm,
know why it hasn't evolved. We've done a presentation, and there are
mm.
people who were like, I didn't even know I could do this. I
Yeah,
only thought
yeah.
it was available for this. And they already have 3D
Mm,
modeling within it, but you cannot parametricize 3D models. I'm actually going to do a test, another post for our site
hmm.
about adding parametric controls to like wall systems,
Yeah.
because those are the same in Revit. You could draw it in 2D and then it shows you in
Hmm.
3D. Well, I'm
Yeah.
curious if I can manipulate some of it, but I can't
Okay.
draw a window in AutoCAD and parametricize it. Or at least I
Mm,
couldn't up until I'll have to see what 24 will let me do. But
yeah.
in the presentation for the
Yeah.
releases, I never heard anything about
Yeah.
parametric controls. So I'm going to assume we're not there yet. But getting into the more intelligent and integrated design, I would put a
Hmm.
lot more focus in, and cross collaboration. So
Yeah.
Revit, AutoCAD, Civil 3D, why do we need to export and
Yeah.
convert files to be able to read with other
That's
Autodesk software?
that's what I mentioned I guess one of the webinars. It'd be great if at some point we create a universal file format. So all the products are using the same file format. I just share it and you have no problems, opening it. And so,
You get
um,
block attributes in AutoCAD associated to your components. So like, I mean,
yep.
I'm using that in Revit. You have the same thing in Civil. You have profiles. Why do I need multiple
Yeah.
formats to make sure that one of my clients is accessible in multiple disciplines.
Yeah.
It's very
Yep.
difficult. So
Yep.
yeah, that's what, and integrating the I love the augmented reality. I know everybody
Yeah.
likes the virtual reality, but because I've dealt with sales a lot.
Yeah.
How is the best way to sell something? Is you put the product in the hands of the client.
Yeah.
And how do
Yep.
you put a building in somebody's hands? You let them see it on their building site.
Yeah.
That's why I love
Exactly.
augmented reality. So I'd love to see Autodesk integrate some of that. That's why I love the
Hmm.
SketchUp stuff. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on an Autodesk thing, but like I really love where that's going. I love the ability to give a homeowner or somebody who doesn't work or live in this industry, in this
Yeah.
world that we have created, because it's a unique world.
Yeah.
Giving them the opportunity to explore it, to get a taste of it, and just be like,
Yeah.
oh, that's what this does. Oh, that's what this is going to look like. And you're sparking that curiosity in somebody that they never thought they could have before,
Yeah.
into to something they never even thought before. And
Yeah.
that's what I really like. And I actually need to do a lot of research on this. Supposedly you could get Chat GPT and Revit, and you can make it do things for you.
Oh, wow.
I'll send you the video. I think you'll
Huh.
like it just as much as I did. I was like, the guy asked it to like tell me how many interior and exterior doors there are, isolate them, and do this and this. I'm like, oh my gosh, do you know the Dynamo script that is required to get that to happen?
Oh, yeah.
And he just did it with Chat GPT. I love that
Wow.
program. So, but to integrate it into Revit, I don't know if it could go into Civil yet, but
Yeah.
if I put that earworm in you, I know you'll go. Oh no,
I'm
you'll
gonna have
buy
to
it.
look into it and see, I do, if people don't know, as president of Civil CAD Learning Solutions, we create custom apps for Civil 3D. So I do have with my programmer kind of a roadmap, like Autodesk calls it the roadmap, futures roadmap. We do have our own version of what ideas I have,
Yeah,
for this year for creating custom apps. Is it possible? If it's not possible,
yeah.
how much money would I have to go hire another programmer, that does a different language to, bring this language, this thing together to create this
Yeah.
app, and so, but I do have a roadmap, but yeah, it's something I could put it in my roadmap checklist and stuff. So I do have a lot of ideas every year, because I still do a lot of design. So
That's
keeps me
right. And
sharp,
you get
keeps me sharp.
feedback.
So,
Yeah. And the feedback you get from your clients that use your software. And again, they're
mm,
using it in ways that you didn't
mm,
intend the program to
yeah,
be created for. But that
yeah,
doesn't mean that they can't do it. I
yeah.
think you
It's
told me recently
a
about
couple times.
somebody.
Yeah, that's happened. And
Yeah.
I'm like, we didn't intend the app to work that way, but if it worked, that's awesome. It's like,
And
you
that's
know,
what I love.
yeah,
You've sparked that curiosity into
yeah,
somebody with just something that you were just trying to solve a problem for yourself. And you're
yeah,
like, oh, okay, this would be good for
yep,
somebody else. And then they were like, well, I need this, but I need it actually over on this vertical
yeah,
surface and not this
yeah,
horizontal surface.
exactly.
And
Yeah. Our
okay.
dry utility app was meant for, outdoor utility like gas, electrical, fiber in the ground, but
Yeah.
somebody took it into it vertically as conduits and created a
Yeah.
conduit along a wall. And I'm like, okay,
That's
if
amazing.
that works, that works. So,
But that's
uh,
what our industry is truly
yeah,
about. That's the heart of it, is
yeah,
that somebody like you, somebody like me,
yeah,
just has an idea, solves a problem, and somebody
hmm,
else picks it up. And I don't want you to use my parametric knowledge, my dynamic, what I've created,
hmm,
but maybe something that I have done
yeah,
might help you answer a question you had. And
yeah,
I'm excited to see what people do with that. And that's really what it comes down to. And
yeah,
it takes people like us to light those flames for
yeah,
other people. And that might be the most exciting thing for
yeah,
me, is watching somebody else's eyes light up, being
yeah,
like, what did you think, what did you just come up with? And it's nothing I ever thought about before, and I'm like,
yeah,
this is amazing. Yeah, I
yeah.
can't wait to see what they do. Yeah.
Yeah, I was in a meeting with one of my clients yesterday. I showed us one of our apps, and they were kind of blown away. I'm like, what do you even think about something like that? Was even possible? I was like, I didn't know until I got with my programmer and see if the coding was there to be able to create it. But it is cool when they get surprised and they see something like that. Um, so let's talk, outside of Autodesk, we got a few more minutes left. What do you
Yeah.
do outside of Autodesk? Like what's your hobbies? Are you part of any kind of organizations, group functions? Charity groups, something with a family or kids, and um, um, what's your favorite movie? Is there a favorite sports team? So,
That's a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Hobbies. Huge into the outdoors. I love
Yeah.
being outdoors as much as possible.
Hmm.
As soon as I can get into my garden, actually, I'm clean right now because I washed, but I'm usually covered in dirt.
Yeah.
I usually smell like my compost because uh, I
That was
grow
me
like
yesterday.
I grow like 2 to 250 garlics in my
Oh,
backyard,
wow.
and you know, that's not the only thing I grow, but that seems to be the thing. Everybody's like 200. I eat that much garlic,
Yeah.
and then you have to plant for the next year, so I've got to save a bunch. And
Yeah. And garlic
um,
goes in a lot of food as
I
ingredient.
eat a
So
lot of garlic. Yeah,
yeah.
I found that out that I eat more garlic than the average person. They just need to up their game. Huge into reading, love science fiction,
Yeah.
love fantasy, really love whatever I can get my hands
Yeah.
onto. Really into reading like science literature as well.
Hmm.
I have for Christmas I got Richard Feynman's entire lecture series on physics,
Oh,
and I'm
wow.
so excited.
I've been trying,
um,
is it audiobook or
no, because I
okay.
actually have the workbook that goes with it. My husband was
Oh,
so nice
okay.
and got me the whole collection.
Yeah.
But turns out I need to take high school physics again because I'm a little raw. But
Oh,
it's not going to stop me. I'll just take high school physics and then head back over to the university stuff.
yeah.
Um, what else do I have? There's not a lot I don't like to do.
Yeah.
Spend a lot of time with my kids when I can.
Hmm.
Doing just whatever they like to do. My
Hmm.
kids like the game as well, so
Yeah.
we like to play video games together.
Yeah.
We really like art. Um, and then on my personal career side, so I do have a full-time job, which I absolutely adore. I work with fantastic people, but um, my brain never stops. You're a very similar person, so I know that you
Hmm.
understand where I'm going for this. So right now we're building an app for Revit. I can't get into it just because
Yeah. Yeah.
this is going to go live, and so I have to keep.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Exactly.
know,
It's still
you
in the
know about it. Yeah,
alpha before it goes to beta stage.
yeah, so we're developing an app for Revit
Yeah.
that
Cool.
will work
Awesome.
cross discipline, and actually, our intention is it for it to be free for users, and
Mhm.
we're going to be looking at other people paying for it. But for
Yeah.
users, for the general person that's going to use it, you get it for free. But
Yeah.
the people who want to integrate into the tool, into the
Yeah.
software, they're the ones that'll pay. So, but that's a
Yeah.
really big to me. I've always been about free software
Yeah.
for users and find another resource, find another avenue for revenue
Yeah.
because
Okay.
we're already paying a lot for everything. I don't need to,
Mm.
I don't need another subscription. That's what it comes down to. So I feel that I build what I build for myself. What I build for others, I build it for myself
Mhm.
first. What's
Yeah.
that? It's the same as you. You build
Yeah.
something for yourself first, and then is this going to
Yep.
be valuable? Um, what else do I do? Oh gosh,
Do you
lots of
watch
stuff.
sports or you have a favorite
Um,
movie?
I love so many things that I don't have a favorite movie, but
Yeah.
adore Star Wars, Star
Yeah.
Trek, can go into the Avengers, can do
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy, Harry Potter. It's just, anything that's unique and creative
Yeah.
will grab my
Yeah.
attention. So, and the same into reading. I'm just finishing up the Dune series. I've almost read all of Frank Herbert's entire
Oh, wow.
collection. I absolutely adore him. If anybody hasn't heard of Frank Herbert, go look him up, but read
Yeah.
his novellas first. Don't get into Dune. That's a
Yeah.
big that's a big task, but reading his smaller works, such a
Yeah.
brilliant mind. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. If
Yeah.
anybody knows me on the community
I
voices,
heard the
my
book's a
last
lot better than the movie.
yes,
Yeah.
but you just can't replicate that guy's mind.
Yeah.
He's so, I love them. So I guess science fiction is
Yeah.
my big thing. I love
That's
um,
cool.
comic books, big into
Yeah.
comic books. I
Yeah.
have my
Same
area.
here.
Yeah, yeah, we've had a few comic book
Yeah.
conversations actually. Yeah, and I have a great comic book dealer. He doesn't charge me very much. He just
Oh,
charges
that's
me
good. They have
because
connection.
the yeah, he doesn't increase the price. Whatever he pays, he lets me pay that.
Yeah.
So I get them for like $4 a piece. I'm like, thank you, because
There you
these are
go.
expensive. Yeah, yeah. Comics books are expensive. Um, Big into reading, big into art, big into
Mhm.
design.
Mhm.
Like everybody who's
Yeah.
curious like us,
Mhm.
you
Yep.
sometimes you'll find me online until like 11 or 12 at night working just because I
Same
have an
here.
idea. And yeah.
Yeah.
How many times have we been talking at 11 o'clock at night?
Yep.
It's like, go to bed. You go to bed. So, but my brain doesn't stop. So
Yep.
whatever is kind of going on, that's the direction to
Mhm.
go. I'm the ambassador to Canada for the BIM Coordinator Summit.
Yeah, I saw that. That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, that one's been fun. I've been really excited to watch the direction that they're going because it's not
Hmm.
dedicated to a specific platform. It's to the
Yeah.
industry and it's to a group of individuals, like-minded professionals. And I'm really just excited to kind of see how that grows.
Yeah.
And Ralph, the guy who runs it, he's so kind. I love him. He's such a nice guy. I got my Expert Elite stat. I was accepted into the Expert Elite program actually on International Women's Day. So I'm going to
Yeah.
be focusing on that over the next year, is increasing diversity and women in the
Yeah.
technical industry, because it is a big thing. This might be 2023, but there is still that stigma, and it's
Hmm.
kind of crazy. I don't feel that. All of
Yeah.
my male counterparts, you guys are amazing, and I have
Yeah.
found nothing but support, compassion from all of you. So it's still surprising to me to
Yeah.
see that there's not that many female expert elites. There's actually very little
Yeah.
of
It's
us in the
probably
program.
what, 10% at the most, I
Yeah.
guess.
I actually know the number, but I'm not allowed to say it. But it
Oh
is
yeah.
very
So
low. Yeah. It's
yeah, I mean, I
very,
agree with
very
you,
low.
and there are a lot of female experts out there, but maybe they
Yes.
just don't want to be part of the program. Maybe it's like, I have enough on my plate, or don't want to be in the spotlight. And they're like, hey, that's not me. It's not what I'm about.
Yeah.
But there
And
are a lot of experts out there, female experts,
yeah.
maybe they're focused on something else than just technology. So
Yeah. And maybe it's a courage thing, or thinking that their
yeah,
their opinion is invaluable. And I felt that. So I'm
yeah,
just trying to learn off of. So being in the industry for 26 years, I've actually only been sharing my experience and knowledge for the last year.
yeah,
And so I'm trying to assume that that might be where those other women are as
yeah,
well. Is
yeah,
that maybe you don't feel like you have something to share. And my first
yeah,
few posts were silly things that I didn't think anybody would care about.
yeah,
But people did care. They're like, I
yeah.
actually needed to know this. I just posted something about min max controls in Reddit. And somebody's like, I've been doing this with equations before. I'm like, oh my gosh, what kind of equation did you have for this? Because it
Yeah.
would have to be like, a
Yep.
probably 500 character string to
Yeah.
get this to work. And then
Yeah.
there's no control over it. And now with mine, I could change the min max
Yeah.
parameters. I can add in, like, if this is, I actually built, it came about for like egress control
Yeah.
for windows. Because
Yeah.
like you can have a casement window that's not an egress window,
Yeah.
but I needed the parameter to understand that. So,
Yeah.
building into that, and different windows, casement, picture, and awning are technically all the same system.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
working with that. So it was just understanding that, oh, okay, things that I have done, other people
Yeah.
might like.
Yeah.
And I still don't know. I have no idea what people want to hear. I'm like, I actually keep a list at work. And when somebody asks me a question, I write it down. And then
There we
that's
go.
kind of how I direct the posts that I do across
Yeah.
multiple platforms. Because I was like,
Yeah.
okay, somebody asked me this question. I already know it. Okay, that's where I'm going to go. That's my next
Yeah.
tip, is
Yeah.
because I don't know. I don't know what people don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So
Exactly. Yeah. You're the fourth female expert elite member I've interviewed now for the
yeah, you had
podcast.
Rena and
Rena
Donya.
and Danya
Yeah.
um and who's the other one? She's now with Autodesk.
Yes.
Um
So our females in Autodesk.
Stacy.
Yeah, we lost two last year because they got hired on by Autodesk, and you can't be an
Yep.
expert elite if
Yep.
you're an Autodesk employee.
Yeah,
So
you're so yeah, y'all four now. So I'm
yeah,
trying to remember. It's hard to been, yeah, I've been having a hard time trying to find more expertly female, so and getting them to see if they want to do it or not. So, but I'm not gonna force anybody. So
that's
uh
the thing. We
so
can't
yeah.
make people do something they don't want to do, but hopefully getting them to gain courage
Yeah,
or find their voice really is
yeah.
even what it comes down to. It's yeah, that's
Exactly. So there have been a few members out there, non-expert leads, a part of the user group that found their voice. They were kind of shy at the beginning, then found their voice. Now they're always out there posting information, tips and
yeah.
tricks or industry best practices and stuff like that. So, but yeah. Um, are you in part of any other Autodesk committees or groups and stuff like that, other than Expert Elite member?
So I am on the AutoCAD beta team, but
Okay.
I need to get my butt in gear and get back in there. Just
Yeah,
with
I
all the
know.
stuff that happened last year,
Yeah,
I started really strong, did a couple months, and then
I know it's
yeah,
tough to
it
do
is.
it. I try to do my one-on-one sessions and test it myself besides going into beta forums and giving
Yeah,
my input. So but yeah. But
no,
great. I mean, I appreciate you coming online with us and interviewing with our group. We're gonna send you more invites for more of a group discussion.
yeah.
One time we had, I think, 12 experts joining a webinar.
I know that was a great
Yeah, so
video.
we're gonna
Yes.
try to do another one like that and do one
Okay.
with Revit and AutoCAD and Revit, I'm sorry, Civil 3D members all together as a
That'd
Q&A,
be wonderful.
so you can ask any of our specialists together. So, but yeah,
That'd be really
I'm
fun.
really, yeah, I think it'd be a fun one. I'm gonna try to set up again. So, but I want to thank you for coming online, and
Oh, thank
hopefully
you.
you enjoy sharing the knowledge as an Expert Elite member now. So, congrats,
Thank you.
uh,
You had a big
and
part in this. Your support and encouragement over the last
yeah.
year. You have been a valuable
Oh, thank you.
colleague to gain this last year.
Yeah.
And I just want to thank you because you've always
I
been supportive. You were the first one to encourage me to do the very first webinar. You
Yeah,
hosted
with
my
the
first
user group.
webinar ever.
Yeah.
Yes, and that, oh gosh, how many times did I ask you how nervous I was? What do I
Uh,
need to do? And you're like, don't worry, you'll be fine.
you'll
But
be
you've been
fine.
like that.
Exactly.
And
Uh,
I don't feel as nervous today as I did a
yeah.
year ago.
Yeah.
And a lot of that comes down to your support
Yeah.
and encouragement as well. So thank you, Tony. You've
Yeah.
been a
I
wonderful friend.
appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I try to encourage people on our user group. If anybody, never heard of our user group, the DFW BIM infrastructure user group, we have a platform, a user group on
Yeah.
MeWe, and there we're online 24/7, just sharing
Love
tips
it.
and tricks and sharing industry insights on different products and stuff. And sometimes we get a little fun and have a little fun on there and talk about
That's,
different topics and stuff. So, but
yeah.
if you ever have a technical question, if you're using any kind of Autodesk products like Revit, AutoCAD, Vehicle Tracking, InfoWorks, Civil 3D, Navisworks, 3ds Max, come in our platform
I
and
agree.
post a question. And we have, I think I have counted like 30 CAD/BIM managers in our user group.
Yeah. Actually, I think
So
you announced that at our
yeah,
quarter.
yeah,
Yeah, that was
yeah. So definitely come join us, and also check out the rest of our Expert Elite webinars on our YouTube channel, CivilCAD LS. And there's a playlist for Expert Elite World. You can see other 16, 17 other Expert Elites that I've interviewed, and you'll see Kristina's here in the next couple of days. You'll see her recorded video posted on our channel. So. And
awesome.
so, okay. Well, thanks for joining us, and I hope you have a great day. And
Yes,
I
you
will
too,
talk to you
Tony.
later.
Yeah. Oh, you will. Yeah. I love harassing you. Yeah. You have a wonderful day, Tony. Thank you so
You
much.
too.
Bye.